Hi DIYers, this is Michael from Alarm Grid, and today I'm going to be showing you how to add and delete zones using console mode on a Honeywell Home Tuxedo Keypad. Console mode basically has the Tuxedo act as an alphanumeric keypad, like a Honeywell 6160, which we have a Honeywell 6160 here, and we have our Honeywell Home Tuxedo Keypad right here, the touchscreen keypad. Both these keypads are connected with the same VISTA system, so any change I make on the Tuxedo in console mode will also appear on the 6160. Let's get into it. So first we want to get into console mode. That's how we're going to have our Tuxedo act as an alphanumeric keypad like the 6160. So we'll choose security, and then we'll choose the more choices, the three buttons, right, or the three dots inside the circle, and we'll choose console mode. And now we're in console mode, and you see we have the same screen on the Tuxedo as we do on the 6160. We get the disarm, ready to arm. So to get into programming, we have to enter in our installer code, which ours is at the default of 4112, and then we enter 800. And we get installer code 20 indicating that we have entered programming. So now to get into zone programming, I'm going to choose star 56. And now we're in zone programming. So today I'm going to go through the process of doing a wireless zone. We're going to be adding a wireless zone, and then after it's added, I'll show you that it's working on the system, and then I'll delete the zone just to show you how to do that. First thing we want to do, it's going to ask us set to confirm. It's easiest just to choose 0. This is related to wireless programming. If you choose 1, then you'll have to confirm the serial number later on. It's just an extra step if you really want to confirm that the serial number was transmitted properly. If you have a lot of sensors around, that might be something to consider, but in our case, we'll choose 0. And then it's going to ask us to enter in our zone number. Depending on the VISTA system you're using, in our case, wireless zones start at zone number 9, but we'll do zone number 10 today. We'll do 1, 0, and then that's displayed on the screen. And then what we're going to do, we're going to press the star key to continue. Just a reference, the star key usually precedes you forward, and the pound key sends you back. So just so you know when you're navigating the menus. But we're going to go forward. We're going to press the star key. And then we get a summary screen. We'll press star again to continue. And then we're choosing the zone type. This is also known as the response type. This determines how the system responds when the zone is faulted, when you activate the sensor. So I'll just, I'm going to choose zone number 1, zone type number 1, because that'll be an entry exit, and that'll work well for us. But I'll just go through a few of them. If I do 01, we get entry exit. If I do 03, you see that's perimeter. That's another popular zone type for maybe a glass break sensor. If I do 10, then that's interior with delay, so that might be another one you're choosing, perhaps for a motion sensor. But in our case, we're doing a door and window contact sensor, specifically a Honeywell 5800 Mini. So we'll choose 01. We'll go with entry exit 1. We're fine with that one, so we'll press the star key to continue. And then you're choosing the partition. This is the partition assignment for the zone. We're fine with partition 1. If you want to choose a different partition, maybe partition 2, you can enter that. But we'll do partition 1. And then we're at the report code. We do want to just enter 10. We want the first digit to not be a 0. So we'll keep that there at 10, and then we'll press the star key to continue. And then RF transmission. There are 3 types of settings here, important ones anyway. 3 is for supervised RF, 4 is for unsupervised RF, and 5 is for button RF. Since this is a door and window contact sensor and we want it to be supervised, we'll choose 3. And now we're at the serial number screen where we can learn in the sensor. So what we're going to do, we're just going to fault the sensor. We're going to separate the magnet from the sensor, and it should transmit a signal to VISTA system. There we go. We got it to go through. It took a couple times, but we got it there. And we have the loop number set at loop number 1, which is the correct loop number for the sensor. So we'll press the star key to continue. And then we get another summary screen here. We'll press star again. And now it's going to ask us if we want to program the alpha. The alpha basically serves as the zone descriptor or the name for the zone. This is a whole process in itself if you want to set a name. But we're fine keeping it with no name for now. We'll just recognize it as zone number 10, which is the zone number we have it assigned to. And so we'll keep it at 0 and press star to continue. And then it takes us back to, it cycles through and takes us back to where we can choose the zone number. So we're done with zone programming now, so we'll choose 0, 0 to quit. And then I'm going to enter star 99 to exit programming. You always want to use that to exit programming on the Tuxedo, or any keypad for that matter. Anytime you're in programming on a Vista, always use star 99 to exit to prevent yourself from being locked out. So we'll go ahead and do that. And you're going to see that the Tuxedo reboots. Whenever you exit programming on the Tuxedo, it does a power cycle. That's completely normal. It's just refreshing the information. So once it loads back up, I'll show you how the zone works, when we fault the sensor, that the zone fault will be displayed on the screen. So we'll wait to do that. And then once we are back in, I'll go into programming. After I show you how the sensor works, the zone, I'll show you how you can delete the zone, and then show you that once we delete it, then we no longer are able to get the zone faults on the screen because it is deleted from the system. So we're just going to wait a brief moment while it gathers some zone information, including the sensor that we just programmed, the zone we just programmed. It's getting the information, so that way it's ready to go once it boots back up. So it usually just takes a brief moment here, and there we go. We're back at the main screen. So we have our door and window contact sensor here. Like I said, this is a Honeywell 5800 Mini. So the way that this works, when the door or window is closed, the magnet should be in direct contact or in very close proximity, usually within ½ an inch of the sensor. Usually you have the magnet, the smaller portion, on the moving part of the door or window, and the larger sensor is on the door or window frame, on the stationary part, because if you were to slam the door or the window was shut aggressively or something, it would be better to have the magnet damaged rather than the sensor. I mean, you don't want either of them to be damaged, of course, but the sensor is the valuable piece of equipment. So really, having the magnet move around is the safer option. When I open the door, the magnet separates from the sensor, and you see on our Tuxedo we get a not ready fault because we have the zone programmed. So it recognizes that the sensor has been faulted, and so we get that message on there. Now when I close the door, I restore the magnet to the sensor, you see that we have the ready to arm on the Tuxedo again. The zone is in a restored condition and we don't have a fault. Just to show you one more time, when I open the door, we get the fault condition. And you see it's also displayed on the 6160. They're both connected with the VISTA system. So let me close the door. We get ready to arm, and one more time, we get it faulted. So that indicates that our zone is set up with the VISTA system. We did it using the Tuxedo in console mode. Now, if you want to delete a zone, I'm going to show you how to do that. We can also use console mode for that as well. So we're going to go to security again, and do more choices, the 3 dots, and we'll choose console mode. And now we're at programming. So we'll enter in our master code I'm sorry, not our master code, our installer code. Our installer code 4112, and that's the default installer code on a VISTA system. And then we'll enter in 800. Yeah, and that's installer code. You shouldn't be using that for arming and disarming. Installer code. So we're at the main programming screen here, and again we'll choose star 56, and we'll choose 0 again. And we're going to enter in the same zone number that we entered in before, because this time we're deleting the zone. So we'll enter in 10, and then we'll press star. We get the summary screen, we press star again. And for zone type, this time we're going to enter in 00 for zone disabled. And then you're going to see when I press star, it's going to ask us if we want to delete the zone. And of course we do. So we're going to enter in 1. And then it takes us back to the zone selection screen. So now I'm going to exit programming 00 to exit zone programming, and then we'll enter in star, and it's going to ask us field 99, and we're going to have the Tuxedo begin to reboot. Remember, because we exited programming. So it's just doing that to refresh the information again and getting it to where it needs to be. So we're going to wait for that to boot back up, and when it does, I'm going to show you again the sensor here, and I'm going to show you how it doesn't display on the screen when we do the zone fault because, well, there is no zone. We deleted the zone. We deleted the sensor from the system. So whatever the sensor does, the system's not going to acknowledge it. It's no longer programmed with the system. So once it's back up, you'll see that before when we opened the door, in theory, we got the zone fault on there. It gave us the not ready to arm message. But once this is back up, then you'll see we don't get any message. It's just going to stay ready to arm because we don't have any faulted zones on the system because we deleted the zone that we programmed. So it's just going to get everything together, and you see we're back at the main screen of the Tuxedo. And so we have our sensor here, and we open it, and we don't get anything on the screen because we have deleted it. It's that simple. You go in there and you set the zone type, the response type, to 00 for zone disabled. You confirm that you do want to delete the zone, and it wipes out all the zone information. Again, nothing happens when we fault the sensor because it's not programmed with the system. So today we went through and we showed you how to use console mode to add a zone. We set up a Honeywell 5800 Mini door and window contact. We showed you how that works. And we went back into programming and we deleted the zone. And this was all done using console mode on the Tuxedo, which is basically the same as using an alphanumeric keypad like this 6160 right here. Okay, so that's how you delete, or it's how you add and delete a zone using console mode on a Honeywell Home Tuxedo Keypad. If you have any questions about the Tuxedo or about a Honeywell VISTA System or alarm monitoring services, send an email to support@alarmgrid.com. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up below to like the video, and remember to subscribe to our channel for updates on future videos. We hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.